there folks, Mr. G here again with another educational video. This time we're going to be talking a little bit about the files that are available in our class team. So the way you get to files, if we're starting from our team's dashboard here, we click on our Science 8 team. In the general channel, we go up to the top, we click on files. After it has a second to load, you'll see we have class materials. We click on that. And as you'll notice, there's not a whole lot here, but as the quarter goes on, there'll be more and more materials that'll get posted, more folders, more information. But for now, we're going to click on the start of the quarter. There's two documents in here right now, our year schedule, which if you click on this, you'll see the schedule for our entire year with the face-to-face and remote swaps, all the quarters put in nice visual colors here. So feel free to check that out if you're curious about the dates when you swap over or anything like that. The other file that's here is the course outline for this year. And that's what the focus of this video is going to be. So if you click on this, you can also download a copy of it here and take a look at the document for yourself. If you download it, this is what you'll see. So there's my name up at the top there along with my email. The email is the best way to get in contact with me. First thing I want to go over is the equipment and materials we're going to need. This is probably the most important one right at the top here. You're going to need a binder and you're going to need dividers. If you're not sure what I mean by a divider, it's this sort of thing where it has these colored tabs on the side, and this is going to help you stay organized through our different units as well as the times where you're going to be swapping from face-to-face and remote. Obviously you're going to need something to write with, pencils, erasers, colored pens if you'd like, but definitely a pencil and eraser. Straight edge just means a ruler. You're going to need a calculator. We are going to be doing a little bit of math during the course, as well as the Science 8 workbook. So this is payable online through School Cash Online. This is something you might have done already for other courses with other workbooks or other school fees. So you should have access to this. If you don't, please make sure you contact our office staff and they'd be happy to help you get set up with that. But I can't give you the workbook until you've paid. And the workbook also gives you access to the online textbook, which we'll talk in a moment about. This is definitely one of the most important things you do in the first week, along with getting your binder ready, because we're going to be starting in the workbook pretty soon. So you got to make sure you have it so that you can do all of the work that's there. The grading for Science 8 is following this proficiency scale, which I'm sure you're familiar with from other courses, all the way from incomplete to exemplary. And your final mark will be determined on this proficiency scale, so you will get either an incomplete, beginning, developing, accomplished, or exemplary as a final mark. And this will be based on tests, assignments, and we're going to be basing that on the curricular competencies. The curricular competencies for science are listed over on the side here, on the right-hand side. Questioning and predicting, planning, conducting, process and analyzing, evaluating, communicating, applying, and innovating. So these are the 6 main categories we're going to look at, and we'll get into more detail about that as the year goes on. If you're interested in more links about this, there is more information at these links below from the Government of BC. And then lastly on this first page is a little bit about our course content. We'll be starting off with an introduction to science, lab safety, as well as life sciences, physical sciences with light and matter, as well as earth sciences. If you're interested in exactly what these are going to entail, again, the links at the bottom here are a great place to look for more information. On the back side here, we go through a little bit of how I like to run my classrooms. Whether it's online or in person, I want all of my students to contribute to a positive learning environment. So you want to make sure that we're giving everyone the opportunity to learn and work together to maximize each other's learning. In addition, there are going to be some lab safety procedures that we will cover briefly at the start of the course and throughout the course, and you're expected to follow those at all times. A positive learning environment is also a safe learning environment. There are two sort of guiding principles I like to think about when I'm setting up my classroom, and I'm hoping that you will keep in mind throughout the year. The first, to be thoughtful and be respectful. So being thoughtful is thinking of those around you and respecting them. So whether that's from a safety perspective or collaboratively when you're working on something, these are really important things to remember. The second one is a rule that isn't really a rule, but it's a favorite thing of mine. It comes from Adam Savage, who you might know from Mythbusters. He has something called Rule 0, which is don't make me make a rule. So outside of the lab safety procedures, I don't like to make a lot of rules and tell you exactly how to behave in my class. But if I notice something's a problem, I might have to make a rule about it. So if we can be thoughtful and respectful and make sure that our learning environment is positive, I shouldn't have to make many more rules outside of the ones that are needed for safety. In terms of attendance, if you're face-to-face, make sure that you send me an email from your parents, not just you, and it should include a reason for the absence, so why it is you are away. Make sure that you arrive on time with all the stuff you needed to learn, so that's going to be your workbook, that's going to be your binder, pencils, erasers, calculators. We don't want people borrowing materials from each other for health and safety reasons. As I'm sure you're aware from your first quarter, our hybrid quarterly system is very challenging. We're swapping constantly between remote learning and face-to-face learning. I'm going to try and keep as much as I can on Teams so that it's available for you whether you're face-to-face or remote, and all of that stuff is there. It's really important that you're checking Teams daily. So we mentioned that in our video last time, that I'm going to be posting every single day with an update. And it's really important that you are doing this, especially when you're remote, because this is the only way that you have to get the information that you need and go through the assignments. Parents, you're encouraged to follow along, to watch what's happening, to follow those daily posts. We've got to do the whole of science, the whole year of science in 9 weeks, which is challenging, and it's going to be really hard if you fall behind. So make sure that if you're falling behind, you contact me. My email's up at the top here. Post on Teams. Make sure you get in touch to get the help that you need. For tests, please make sure that you notify me in advance if you're going to be absent and that your parent or guardian notifies me by email, and we can schedule a makeup test at an appropriate time. This goes for assignments as well, so if there's an assignment that is due and it's late, please come talk to me. Ideally, a parent or guardian can send me an email about it, and we can figure out a time for you to submit. The last thing I want to mention here related to marking is cheating. Cheating, and that includes plagiarism, which is where you copy somebody else's work, is a very serious offense. We do keep track of this throughout your entire high school career, and depending on the severity and the number of times that you do this, there will be different consequences. So really, I just want to put that out there. I don't want to say too much about it. Please don't cheat. Don't copy off of others. Make sure that your work is your own. Lastly, if you are experiencing any difficulty, if you're having trouble with Teams or keeping up with assignments, or you just need a little bit of extra help, the best place is in class during flex time. So our room is A100. You're welcome to drop by anytime during flex. I'd encourage you to send me an email beforehand so that I know to expect you, so that I'm going to be there. You can also contact me via Teams or by email. Before we wrap up with our course outline here, I want to go back to something that I mentioned at the start, the Science 8 workbook, as well as the online textbook. So like I said, you should be able to pay this through School Cash Online. If you're not sure how to do that, please contact our office administrators. They'd be happy to help. When you get your workbook, you will get a little card that comes with it. So this card, which I'm holding up for the camera, you'll get something that looks very similar. And there are instructions on this card that tell you exactly where to go. So the website up at the top here, you enter in the URL, and it'll take you to a page that looks like this. Once you're here, you want to register a new course. You are a student, so we'll hit the student button and hit agree. You enter in your email here, you submit your email for registration, and this is what you need to fill out. So you'd put in your name, first name, last name, time zone. So over here we are Pacific time. You make sure that your email address here is correct. I'm not entering my real email address, but make sure you put yours here because they will send you a confirmation. You make up your password, whatever you want it to be. The school here, we have to scroll all the way down until you find Lord Byng Secondary School, Vancouver School District 39. For our subject, Science, and the title, BC Science Connections 8. The enrollment key, you should leave blank. And then for your passcode here, on your registration card, you'll notice there's a little metal strip here, a little bit of a foil strip. You scratch that away, and that's what you enter down here for your passcode. For your passcode. The enrollment key, this is what you want to leave blank. Don't put anything here. One thing I want to mention, for the passcode here, it's really, the writing under this can get scratched off, so you want to make sure that when you're scratching off this foil, that you're not going to scratch too hard, because if you do, you might damage the writing underneath. This happened to a number of students during the first quarter, and it took them a really long time to get access to their textbook because you get one of these, and only one for each student, and everyone needs their own. So please make sure that you're very gentle when you're scratching this off. I'd encourage you to use your fingernail, not a coin or a piece of paper. And that's what you enter down for this passcode. Once you do that, you hit Submit Registration, and it should send you an email to this email address, and then you can log in at that original page. So in order to do that, we go back to our original URL. This is where we got started. You enter in your username, you enter in your password. Your username is going to be your email, and your password is the password that you created, and you should have access to your textbook. That's the end of the video here. Make sure you stay tuned for our third video, where we're going to be talking a little bit about how to complete assignments and where to go for all of that. See you in the next video.